Chattantau dinau chajam Sankha purvaka nama gananativi Kalabhasanitkutam Nidrahara vihara kadi viditam
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which this association and society, the Hare Krishna Society, represent. And as you could see at the beginning of our program, unedited, unadulterated, and not changed by any mental speculation that the living entity can concoct to justify their position in this material world. Because people think this life is so important, but it isn't. It's important in the sense that it is an opportunity for becoming God conscious. But in terms of the universe, we are very insignificant. Yes, we are very insignificant. And think about it, Prabhus, there are over 8 billion people on this planet. 8 billion. So how important is one person in 8 billion? And that's nothing compared to the countless living entities that reside on this planet and in millions, billions of planets in the universe. So Krishna's creation, to understand it, is inconceivable, but it is possible to get an insight by the grace of a pure devotee. Someone who has transcended the modes of nature, who has understood by disciplic succession the transcendental understanding of our eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is very rare. And Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, our guru, is unique on this planet as one person who was completely self-realized, totally surrendered to his spiritual master and our disciplic succession. And in this way, he manifested the truths of life by his divine position as pure devotee, bona fide spiritual master. And everything that the spiritual master speaks is Shastra. So we have all these wonderful books. We have all these amazing lectures that he has provided for us. all these amazing letters that he sent to all of us to give us insight on how to conduct ourselves in terms of getting out of this material world and repeated birth and death. For one who is born, death is certain. For one who has died, birth is certain, Krishna explains in the Gita. And I especially want to once again make comment to the passing of our godbrother Prakrita Prabhu in Montreal, who was such a great example for everyone in this group and anyone who met him on how to humbly execute devotional service and be successful in this lifetime through that strict adherence to the instructions of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Prakrita Prabhu and his wonderful association and inspiration for all of us in this group, and an example for all of us how we can also get the mercy of the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, by following carefully his instructions and his guidance for us in our personal efforts. I wanted to mention too that we have had a change in our scheduling for the programs that we conduct. It was one of our services. We have multiple programs that we are developing, but this one here, the Wednesday class for Chaitanya Charitamrita, has now been shifted to Thursday. And we've had the addition of a new production manager, Nilesh Sharma. And I wanted to thank him for joining that team of devotees that are handling this, Rupesh Prabhu and Vinkat Bhatta Prabhu, all this team, enabling us to broadcast this reading and discussion program globally for everyone's benefit. And so that is now officially on Thursday evening, being broadcast from here at 8 p.m. in the evening. So you can adjust your schedule accordingly, but it's Thursday night now. So I had a few people asking me and calling me about it. And I said, we just went through a different transition in terms of how we're handling these programs on a weekly basis without fail, because it's really a valuable service that I know many of our God brothers and God sisters appreciate. And so we're happy to provide that service and the association that we're all looking for, because it's a new era of preaching, as you know, very different than it was in the past, especially when Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and myself joined the mission. I saw a picture of you, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, recently. It was a photograph of you in Montreal, and you're on Sankirtan. I could barely recognize you. I think you were only 18 or 19. Sripati was there chanting, and I'll send you the photograph. It was three of you on some kind of a parquet chanting the holy names. So that was a great period that we were all in. And this period is also very enlivening because we're reaching so many people. We have over 100,000 views of our classes and readings and discussions on YouTube, Hare Krishna Society YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to that. And Panchagoda, you can recommend people can go subscribe on the YouTube channel to get the invitations and the adjustment. And we want to proliferate that. It's a very valuable vehicle for reaching out to everybody and giving them a chance to hear the truth of the matter in terms of Guru Tattva, which is the essence of our philosophy, not these bogus, self-appointed, elected, manufactured gurus that we see. And there's not only these fake gurus in ISKCON, there are fake gurus everywhere. It's not just there. All kinds of Mayavadi people, all kinds of people from the Gaudiya Math, all these kinds of so-called avatars or enlightened beings. Nothing is equal or even close to Srila Prabhupada's transcendental service that he provided humanity, and we want to protect that for the future. I'm going to mention too, as we move along here, that the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association is having a new Krishna Bhakta Prabhupada initiation ceremony. And I mentioned it yesterday or Thursday, in February 2025. It'll be in Mexico City, so some people may want to come to Mexico and be a part of the festival. I understand Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, that Krishna Kishore, is saying we may have 200 to 300, 400 people there, not all to get initiated necessarily, but to come to the festival. He has a large group of people that he's cultivating in South America on the principle that Prabhupada is the bona fide spiritual master, both Diksha and Siksha Guru. So that's wonderful. And in other countries like Italy and France and Japan, etc., people are taking up Krishna consciousness and understanding that Prabhupada still lives in sound. He's still with us. This idea of Vapu and Vani, we will be discussing these principles in other programs that myself and Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu plan to produce to explain in detail these principles of proper yoga understanding. Remember, yoga means to link with the Supreme Lord, and it also means to link with the bona fide spiritual master, not some kind of fraud. That's a mistake. And people are very confused by it. And it's a tragedy, just like the modern world is a tragedy right now. So much corruption, so much confusion, especially with these phones. These phones are changed the whole culture of humanity. These devices, and they're infiltrated with all kinds of misinformation that's going on. So much confusion. So, I mean, we have to be very careful with the media. Don't become a victim of the media, because the media can take you into Maya, no question. And you'll be sadly disappointed in the end when you leave this world and you think, I spent so much time on media and less time on chanting the holy names. So this is your opportunity to become an official Prabhupada disciple initiated by the authorized Ritvik system approved by Srila Prabhupada. Those serious bhaktas who are interested, please contact us at the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association. You can reach us and by email or phone or other electronic methods, and we can discuss the qualifications for taking initiation and further committing yourself to the process of Krishna consciousness. We also accept candidates who are initiated from other gurus in ISKCON, the Gaudiya Math and other yoga groups. But we have to discuss it. Protecting and preserving Prabhupada's legacy for current and future generations. That's our goal. So thank you very much for attending today, this program. We so much appreciate it. As it's a demonstration, even though there's only a few of us on the live broadcast, other people are watching the programs online and getting the benefit of the Transcendental Association that all of us are providing for other people. So very much appreciated, everyone. Thank you. We're going to go to the February highlights of Srila Prabhupada's diary now. And you see that Prabhupada has divided everything it's divided into 3 sections, basically broken down to demonstrate how he was sorting and classifying his activities. So these are the February highlights. And here's the picture of Srila Prabhupada in his coat. Let's see if we can get that. Go to, not there. Go to the picture here. Yeah, thank you. There's Prabhupada. Look at the cold weather. He's got that long jacket on. I don't think he ever had a jacket like that. But here in America, in Canada, you need these different costumes in order to protect yourself from the weather. It's very cold here. Prabhupada wasn't used to it, but it made no difference to him. He was the transcendental warrior of Lord Chaitanya. And we'll move forward with the books. Now, these are divided, these are broken down according to the day in February. So we have books. Keep going. No, next picture, please. Not that one. Just go to the next picture. There we have it. Thank you. Delivered 1 set of books to Mr. Lindsay R. Moss of the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation. On the 3rd, he sold 1 set. These are 3 books for $13 of the Srimad Bhagavatam Delhi versions. 1 set on the 4th, 1 set book delivered to Orientalia against price deposited yesterday. 1 book taken back from Julian Press. 2 sets taken back from Paragon Book Gallery. Very ambitious. So Prabhupada was busy distributing books. Letter to Sally to send 25 sets to Paragon immediately, so he's running out of stock, and she's keeping them in Butler, Pennsylvania. Taken $40 from Mr. Cohen, out of which book price $16.80, due to him $23.20. 14th, I have advised President of Paragon Book Gallery to receive 25 cents sets sent by Sally Agarwal. On the 15th, a proposal for Gita editing made to Mrs. LeBlanc almost agreed. So interesting, he's scouting out people to edit until he finally, Hayagriva appeared on the scene, a professor in English, and then Prabhupada enlisted him to help in presenting the truth to the Western world. On the 17th, Mr. Paul, introduction of Cohen, took 1 set of books, price to be realized. I suspect that's Paul Murray. On the 18th, 2 sets of books brought from Paragon. The man declines to deliver books like this. Sally has not sent the books as yet. And on the 20th, introduction to Gita Upanishad recorded 2 sides, 3 hours. So he's going to have those transposed for what we know as the introduction now to the 72 Bhagavatams. Classes in Kirtans. Okay, on the 1st, he was at the Universalist Church, will allow space for holding meetings on every Wednesday evening from 7:30 to 9 p.m., and Mr. Cohen was informed. So he's stepping out, starting public presentations. On the 2nd, one Etsy 20-inch tape recorder purchased for $54.02 in the evening. There is a lecture at the Universalist Church, West 76th Street and Central Park West. On the 3rd, there was a very nice demonstration of tape recorder Sankirtan by me. Srila Haridas Thakur said, Harinam would even purify the birds and beasts. Today, this statement is corroborated. On the 6th, Cohen and Shalak and 2 ladies attended a meeting. So Prabhupada's giving classes from his office. On the 10th, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada event ceremony. Today, I'm changing my room from 501 to 307. And it's rented. On the 11th, there was no response of the visitors to come and join the Hare Krishna Hare Kirtan this evening. But I'm alone and executed the Kirtan ceremony with my TNR till 10 p.m. So even though no one showed up, Prabhupada still held his program. Perfect. On the 15th, Cohen and Salah came. Mrs. LeBlanc also attended the class from 6 to 7:30 p.m. On the 19th in the evening, Mr. Paul and Mrs. LeBlanc came, attended meeting from 6 to 8:30. And on the 20th, Cohen and Salah came. On the 21st, today's meeting was attended by a greater number of members than other days. They liked the introduction record very much. Some of them brought fruits for me, and Mrs. LeBlanc paid $3. So we're seeing people coming forward here giving donations. Very nice. On the 22nd in the evening, there was a meeting up to 9:30 p.m. So Prabhupada's carrying on with his preaching. 23rd meeting was held. Mrs. LeBlanc took away the tape recorder for writing introduction to Gita Upanishad. International Institute of God Consciousness today signed by the floating members. Floating members. On the 24th, one young man came from downtown, Mr. Robert. The Sankirtan record was played. He liked it. On the 25th, went to Ananda Ashram, Monroe. That was Mishra's place out in the country. Prabhupada, he would conduct kirtan for him. And on the 26th at Ananda Ashram, kirtan demonstration was given. Dr. Mishra appreciated it very much. Next morning invited. And on the 27th, Ananda Ashram Kirtan demonstration in the morning record was taken by Mr. Bill, but it was not successful. Okay. So that gives us some real insights. And tomorrow's Bhagavatam will continue on reading these letters and contacts, very prolific outreach by Srila Prabhupada to disseminate the truth to other people daily by his determined effort to spread Krishna consciousness according to his spiritual master's instructions. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, led by our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and then our reading and discussion conducted by our good friend and spiritual guide, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhavan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskrityam. Narayanam namaskrityam. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Tato Jayam Udirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. This program is being conducted on the basis of the original 1972 Macmillan edition, the non-edited, non-interpolated, non-change edition, the original edition, and all commentaries, purports, translations, and synonyms by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be repeating a few selected Sanskrit verses given by Srila Prabhupada himself in New York in 1966, as he started his mission. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kada mahyam dadati svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahaguna Ragunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamsham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Sri Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today we will proceed with our reading from Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 11, text number 46 and 47. At least it's my understanding, that's the verses. Thank you, Bhakta Rupesh. Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam ichchami tvam drashtumaham tateva. Next page. Teneva rupena chatur bhujena sahasrabaho baba vishwamurti. Kiritinam with helmet, gadinam with club, chakrahastam disc in hand, ichchami I wish, tvam you, drashtum to see aham, I, tata eva, in that position, tena eva, by that, rupena, with form, chaturbhujena, four-handed, sahasrabahu, O thousand-handed one, bhava, just become, Vishwamurti, O universal form. Translation: O universal form, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord is eternally situated in hundreds and thousands of forms, and the main forms are those like Rama, Nrisimha, Narayana, etc. There are innumerable forms, but Arjuna knew that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, assuming his temporary universal form. He is now asking to see the form of Narayana, a spiritual form. This verse establishes without any doubt the statement of the Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all other features originate from him. He is not different from his plenary expansions, and he is God in any of his innumerable forms. In all of these forms, he is fresh like a young man. That is the constant feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who knows Krishna at once becomes free from all contamination of the material world. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri-Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Sugurave Dabaham Bhagavad-vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadhanastrinam Dantaridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shatakaromi Swam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, as presented by Srila Prabhupada, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, such as His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Baladi Vidyabhushana, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Jiva Goswami. The philosophy that has been presented by all these great predecessor acharyas all support the conclusion that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original form of Krishna. Now, there are some Vaishnava Sampradayas who claim that Narayana is the original personality, but the Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 1, Chapter 3 explains all the different avatars or incarnations, and it specifies Ete cha amsa kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, that Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. This is also supported in Bhagavad-gītā itself in Chapter 7 and Chapter 10. So it is very important to understand the proper understanding of the position of Lord Sri Krishna. Prabhupada refers here to the Brahma Samhita. What he's referring to is the verse, Ramadi Murtishu Kalaniyamena Tishtan, Nana Avataram Akarad Bhuvanishu Krintu, Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramah Pumanyo, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Vajami. This indicates that Lord Sri Krishna, Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramah Pumantu, that Lord Sri Krishna, the dual form of Krishna with two arms playing on his flute, this particular form is the original personality of Godhead, and all the other incarnations emanate from Lord Krishna. We had an interesting exchange, Guru Kripa Swami and myself, in 1972 when we first went to Udupi in August, and we met with one of the Swamis, the Paryarya Swami of the Madhva Sampradaya, and he basically told us that this interpretation that we were presenting, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that this is not the interpretation of Madhvacharya and the other acharyas. Of course, Guru Kripa, in his unique style, explained to him that according to our acharyas, our position is that Krishna is the personality of Godhead. He quoted different verses. When we subsequently met Srila Prabhupada and explained to him this exchange with the Swami from the Madhva Sampradaya, Prabhupada said, well, they basically are within our Sampradaya, but according to our acharyas, in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, specifically Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami, we accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada says, ultimately, there's no difference between Krishna and Vishnu and all the avatars. It is not that one is better than the other or one is superior to the other. Prabhupada explained, he gave that example given in the Brahma Samhita, Di Parchireva hi dasantaramabhyupetya. If you take a candle and if you light another candle, both candles have the same light, just that one of them is the original candle. Prabhupada said we should be respectful because they actually belong to our Sampradaya, but we should point out that according to our Gaudiya Acharyas, this is the conclusion. And Prabhupada repeats the same point in so many places in his books, in his lectures and conversation. Now, this is very important for devotees to be able to explain this. It's not very complicated. I've several times, as part of these readings and discussions, I've explained another encounter we had in Bangalore in the summer of 1972, when we first went to open the program, Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON program in Bangalore. And one Pandit came to challenge us, stating that according to the Mahabharata, Krishna told Maharaj Yudhishthira to lie, and Krishna was dancing with the gopis and this and that. Of course, Guru Kripa very quickly put him in his place. But when we met Srila Prabhupada subsequently, Prabhupada explained that actually no one can understand Krishna's activities unless they understand the personality of Krishna. And this is how you present. First, you quote the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text number 1. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. That Krishna is the origin of everything, the Supreme Lord. He has a transcendental form of Sachidananda, and he's the cause of all causes. Prabhupada says, next you quote him, Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 7, text number 7. Mattaparataram nanyat kinchirasti dhananjaya. There is no truth superior to me. Prabhupada says, next you quote him, Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 10, text number 8. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. That I'm the source of everything, material and spiritual. And then you emphasize that no one can understand Krishna's activities unless they understand who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this was the kindness of Srila Prabhupada to teach devotees how to preach, how to establish the position of Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Lord. This has been elaborately described by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Krishna Sandarbha, as well as Rupa Goswami in one of his books, in which he explains all of the different avatars and the position of Krishna as the original personality of Godhead. There's the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. There's another book called the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, written by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, in which Rupa Goswami explains very clearly and very systematically how Lord Krishna is the personality of Godhead. And these various points that Prabhupada pointed out are also cited by Srila Rupa Goswami there. So the point is that as devotees, of course, in the Western countries, most people do not have understanding of these issues. But in India, especially in South India, people are a little bit more educated and familiar, at least in those days, with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. But anywhere that we preach, we should be able to explain these points in the same manner that Srila Prabhupada presented. Then it will have great potency. Coming back to this text, Prabhupada explains, this verse establishes without any doubt the statement of the Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead and all other features originate from him. He is not different from his plenary expansions, and he's God in any of his innumerable forms. Now, it's very important to understand, it is not that we present that Krishna is the best and these other forms are inferior, or that Krishna is superior and these forms are inferior. That is not the way that Prabhupada explains it. All these forms are all transcendental. This is very important to understand, because many times devotees, without properly being sufficiently educated, will not be able to present the subtlety of Srila Prabhupada's explanation. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, the prayers of the Brahma Vimohana Leela, where Lord Brahma was bewildered upon seeing so many different forms of Krishna, there is a verse that is also quoted. It's a Srimad Bhagavatam verse, Narayanam Twanga Sarvadehinam, that this form of Krishna, which you are manifested, is the original form from which Lord Narayana has emanated. So this is a very important point for devotees to understand, study, and explain. Because sometimes I see that some devotees say, oh, this Vishwakarma and yourself and this program, you're criticizing other devotees. You would do better just to quote from Prabhupada. Okay, that's a very nice point. We agree with that. Just like my first reply was, we are not criticizing. We're not fault-finding. We are fact-finding. What has happened in this movement since Srila Prabhupada's departure in November of 1977, and why these discrepancies and problems have occurred. Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to Kṛṣṇa Prabhu in the middle 1970s that if there is any problems in our society, I'm paraphrasing here, this means that the instructions of the spiritual master are neglected or not being followed. And one of these basic fundamental instructions is to understand Guru Tattva, the position of the Acharya Tattva, and his instructions. Because we see with the proliferation of so many false acharyas, pseudo-acharyas, self-appointed acharyas, voted in elected acharyas, that there's considerable confusion and hodgepodge ideas in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. There's no problem understanding the philosophy as it is. The problem is that some people who are motivated for name, fame, power, prestige, position, profit, adoration, distinction, they interpret the philosophy and twist the actual meaning of Srila Prabhupada's statements. Prabhupada wrote one letter one time. He says, I'm always afraid of this great crack. And Prabhupada was referring to the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who after his disappearance started to interpret the words and instruction of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada for sense gratification. And the same philosophy, the same disease infiltrated into Srila Prabhupada's society. And to point out these discrepancies and deviations is not criticism. It is fact-finding to establish the proper understanding of Srila Prabhupada's intentions and desires and factual direction for the future of his movement. Just like Vishwakarma Prabhu has stated, that we are in the process of preparing some special events on the history of the movement, Prabhupada's desire for the continuation of his movement, the proper understanding of the philosophy of this movement based on Prabhupada's unchanged, originals, non-interpolated, non-adulterated instructions. And this will be discussed in the future. We are preparing the material now, and various devotees will have the chance to bring up questions and their concerns. I know that there are some devotees in Russia and other Eastern European countries that are compiling different answers to many questions that devotees have about the original initiation system that was established by Srila Prabhupada in 1977, and also refuting many what I call vexatious or frivolous arguments from the self-appointed Acharya crowd, because many people misunderstand Prabhupada's statements. We do know for a fact that in 1977, despite in 1978 as well, despite various attempts to have reasonable discussion with various leaders of the society, they did not want to discuss. Their attitude was, it has all been discussed, they should just accept. There is nothing to discuss. This is complete nonsense. We see in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that Krishna Das Kaviraj discusses, Siddhanta Balya Chitte Nakara Alas. Alas means laziness. One should not be lazy and avoid discussing the Siddhanta, because by such discussion, one will have Sudrida Manas, will firmly convince, one will be, the truth will be firmly established. And those who avoid discussion, those who avoid discussing even unpleasant historical events, simply will become confused in an ocean of sentimentality and emotion without proper conclusion. And the manifestation of this is how they understand Srila Prabhupada. What is the position of a pure devotee? What is the position of a Mahabhagavata? What is the meaning and position of a Shakti, of a avatar, a liberated soul? One cannot say, all glories to Prabhupada, or assemble every day, do the Guru Puja, or Divya Gyan Ridi Prakashita, and then go make a public statement that Prabhupada was just a worker for hire. That is offensive, that is blasphemous, and it is nonsense. And it proves that the leaders of that organization have deviated from the proper Siddhanta of Srila Prabhupada. And there are numerous examples from their position papers, from their statements, from their behavior, from their banning, beating, suing, and harassing devotees, that these people do not understand Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Why? Because they have not studied the philosophy at the feet of the Acharya. They think they know because they went on morning walks with Prabhupada. They received so many letters from Prabhupada. They went and had so much personal time with Srila Prabhupada. Okay, then how did you come to the conclusion that Prabhupada was a worker for hire in your corporation? That means you never understood the philosophy. The pure devotee from Vaikuntha, incidentally, there was an incident in Los Angeles in the early years when Srila Prabhupada was asked by a reporter, Srila Swamiji, what do you think of Los Angeles? Prabhupada stopped. He looked in the sky. He says, I'm not in Los Angeles. I am in Vaikuntha. Of course, the reporter probably did not understand what was Vaikuntha, but this is the point. A pure devotee is not in this material world. Although he seems to be acting just like an ordinary person, he was acting among us, walking among us, functioning like a human being, but he is never to be understood to be an ordinary human being. And anybody who does not understand this has not understood the first point about Krishna consciousness. And this is why some people do not understand. In 1970, Srila Prabhupada wrote in July a letter to one devotee, as soon as there's personal motivation, it is not possible to understand our Krishna conscious philosophy. Now, some people will say, well, who do you think you are? Do you understand better than everybody else? I don't claim that. But I know one thing, if we properly hear from Prabhupada without personal motivation, we will understand the philosophy. And those nonsense people that try to say that Prabhupada was just a worker for hire, that proves they never understood the philosophy. Do not be victimized by such sahajiyas and pseudo self-appointed gurus. Thank you very much, to whom it may concern. To be continued in the future. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Well, it is a good instruction for everyone, for all of us and others, to understand the principles of Guru Tattva. And you were mentioning, we repeat this, it's not so much that we are repeating it, but Prabhupada constantly repeats it, Nilesh, as you know, throughout all of his books. It is a common principle for the disciple to understand Guru Tattva. These are facts, and we've been talking about this for the last, well, for ongoing. And it is important that we continually re-emphasize it, because there is a lot of confusion in regards to it. What is the principle of Guru Tattva? Who is the pure devotee? Who is the bona fide spiritual master? How he lives with all of us in sound, and that how we all have to connect with him through our own personal sadhana, which is where the revelation comes. Sure, we have these programs and classes, but when you take shelter of the literature and you study it carefully, then by the grace of the spiritual master, through the process of devotional service, chanting your rounds, following the regulated principles, offering your food to Krishna for prasadam, to honor prasadam, sharing prasadam with others. All these different ingredients produce a opportunity for us to elevate our consciousness out of the mundane point of life. This is the science of self-realization. And these statements from the Shastras, Shrutas, these short statements of truth are very nicely elaborated in the succinct purports that Prabhupada gives us in all these literatures that we have. And these purports give us succinct explanations on how to practice Krishna consciousness. And any other instructions are not necessary from anyone else. Like some of my godbrothers, they go ahead, Nilesh, I have one person I joined the movement with back in the 60s, actually, 70s, 70. And he's gone on his own way. He left the mission, I think, in 76 or so. And then recently he wrote a book on truth, on the Krishna conscious philosophy. And he took all kinds of information from all different types of books being written by various so-called authorities. And he explains the philosophy based on all of their explanations from people from the Gaudiya Math and other groups like this. And it's just, it's just another mental concoction by him to try to demonstrate his own so-called false ego of how smart he is. He is a very smart person. But is he transcendentally positioned to enlighten the conditioned souls how to get out of the material world? No, he's not. It's all mental concoction. And I wanted to, before we move into our discussion, go to a very interesting part of the Gita where Prabhupada, and this will demonstrate to us when I read this, how his explanations in his purports reveal the process of devotional service, the science of Krishna consciousness to us all on an ongoing basis, because these are parts of his training for us. So we're going to go to text 26, chapter 13, Nature, Enjoyer, and Consciousness. And I'll go right for time restriction. We'll go right to the translation. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This verse is particularly applicable to modern society, because in modern society there is practically no education in spiritual matters. I just want to make a comment here, Nilesh, especially in terms of government leaders. They talk about improving people's lives by reducing taxes and increasing your income, but they leave out the fact of the matter that real happiness does not come from material advancement. It's like the bird in the bird cage. You decorate the cage, but you forget about the bird. And then the bird dies, but the cage is still there. Some of the people may appear to be atheistic or agnostic or philosophical, but actually there is no knowledge of philosophy. It's an empty world, brothers and sisters. As for the common man, if he is a good soul, then there is a chance for advancement by hearing. This hearing process is very important. Now, this is Prabhupada speaking. Remember, it's not Vishwakarma. I'm only reading. Lord Chaitanya, who preached Krishna consciousness in the modern world, gave great stress to hearing, because if the common man simply hears from authoritative sources, he can progress, especially according to Lord Chaitanya. If he hears the transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, it is stated, therefore, that all men should take advantage of hearing from realized souls, not fake gurus, pretenders, posturers, realized souls. Srila Prabhupada is such a realized soul. It's self-evident to all of us, and gradually become able to understand everything through Srila Prabhupada's mercy. The worship of the Supreme Lord will then undoubtedly take place. Lord Chaitanya has said that in this age, no one needs to change his position. No, not necessary. But one should give up the endeavor to understand the absolute truth by speculative reasoning. One should learn to become fortunate enough to take shelter of a pure devotee. Hear from him about self-realization. See the connection, Nilesh? Pure devotee, and hear from him. And follow in his footsteps. He will be gradually elevated to the position of pure devotee. Follow in his... If you look at the footsteps, Panchagoda, Bhakta Paul, footstep is exact. There's an exact imprint. So Prabhupada's using that very simple example of how to carry on with this process. In this verse particularly, the process of hearing is strongly recommended, and this is very appropriate. Although the common man, which is all of us, is often not as capable as so-called philosophers, faithful hearing from an authoritative person will help one transcend this material existence and go back to Godhead, back to home. Repetition by Srila Prabhupada, not by us. These are facts. These are not faults. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
Very important point that you're raising here. And again, I want to come back on this point that some people do not distinguish between spiritual discussion, which involves analyzing events, facts, statements to ascertain the truth. We are not sahajiyas. We are not sentimentalists or foolish people. Why did Prabhupada not come to America, just chant in the park, distribute prasadam, and say, okay, thank you, I'm going back to Vrindavan. I came to your country. Just keep chanting and have prasadam. Why did he write these books? Why? Because we know why he wrote these books. He delivered the knowledge of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This movement is not a movement for money-making. It is not a movement for self-promotion and self-aggrandizement. This is a movement for serious people who want to understand God, their position, and how to go back to the kingdom of God. Those that are serious, that is what these books are for. And those that are not serious, the motivated, the Mishra or the mixed crowd, the Sahaja crowd, they will not understand these books. That is why when they start to mix their so-called misunderstanding with the actual meaning of Srila Prabhupada's statements, they do not understand. They're bewildered. They're confused. They say, oh, you should not criticize. Well, you have to make a distinction. When somebody insults Prabhupada, minimizes Prabhupada, distorts Prabhupada's statements, misinterprets Prabhupada's philosophy, you have to speak up. not simply with cute stories, but with actual philosophy, with actual reason, logic, and arguments, with actual understanding of the philosophy, not simply sentiment. Oh, Prabhupada said this, Prabhupada said that. Okay, Prabhupada says a lot of things. Now sort it out. That's why these discussions are important and necessary. Hare Krishna.
Yes, and I wanted to mention too, as we move forward with our discussion with our members, that we are planning to create a series of books, definitive books on the history of the Sankirtan mission, with Srila Prabhupada at the lead, back from 1922 moving forward. His relationships with the Gaudiya Math, why he left India and came to America, what he did when he started the mission, how he conducted it, all the information that he provided to us on how to practice Krishna consciousness. After that, Panchagauda, he also left, his physical presence in November 14th, 1977. That's another segment. After that, there was a whole other series of events that took place. People are confused about that, Nilesh. Very confused. We're going to explain all about that situation, that fraud that evolved, and how it's evolved to this point where this so-called great movement that Prabhupada started has become split into different sectarian groups like Krishna West, Krishna Life, Radhanath's hospitals and other Mayavadi books, the contamination by Hare Krishna of the Russian yatra, and the disillusionment of all these tens of thousands of people in that part of the world by him and his compadres. These truths have to be established once and for all with sound scriptural information from Srila Prabhupada, so in the future people will not be confused and they can take advantage of this wonderful opportunity that Srila Prabhupada has given all of us, and especially the members of our group here who have a chance to also disseminate the same information, Panchagauda, to other people, to give them a chance to get these matters straightened up in their own confused states. Neela Shama, I see your hands up. And thank you, by the way. Very good job on Thursday. Very good. We'll only get better and better as we move forward. Your comments, please.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. I'm going to make a few points, but let me begin with wishing everybody a happy Vaman Dwadashi. Compliments on Vaman Dwadashi. Today is Ekadashi, and we are also celebrating the appearance of Vaman Dev.
Yes.
And to understand this appearance of Vaman Dev, it's very important that we understand how Krishna can come in front of us, how the truth can come in front of us. It may come as a very insignificant thing. As we say, like, what difference does it make in a few changes in the books? But that insignificant thing can turn into a huge situation. So
Yes.
remember, is that even to get to a position what Bali Maharaj was, he did not do it on his own prowess. He had to take benedictions from Lord Brahma to become the ruler of the three planetary systems. And of course, Krishna is still what we call as Maya Dhakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. He still is in charge of this material world, and he will decide who will run what. So he comes as Vaman Dev and takes away in just 2 steps everything what Bali Maharaj has. So we need to keep that in mind. But I have a question for Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu from his class today. As we compare between Vishnu, Narayan, and Krishna, if you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, Text 6, in the purport, Prabhupada writes very clearly because amongst Indians, especially certain sects of southern India, we speak a lot of Vishnu Sahasranam. We know Sahasra means 1,000. And Prabhupada tells very clearly that when you hear Vishnu Sahasranam, that is 1,000 names of Vishnus, it is equivalent to taking 3 names of Lord Rama, or equivalent to 1 name of Rama. 3 names of Lord Rama is equivalent to 1 name of Krishna. So there is a distinction, but again, we are looking at what kind of magnification are we looking at? Are we looking at it in a broad spectrum, which is far from away? Then yes, Vishnu, Narayan, and Krishna are non-different. But if we go closer and examine the potency of each, because one can say, yes, Vishnu and Narayan are plenary expansions of Krishna. So then let us go to the understanding of what is the plenary expansion, the meaning of plenary expansion. And if you look at the meaning of the plenary expansion, it says that the expansion, give me 1 second, I had put it up. In said, plenary expansion might describe the complete manifestation of a deity or divine principle in a way that fully reveals its essence or attributes. So depending on the divine principle in which Krishna wants to manifest himself, he will manifest those potencies in his expansion. So let us understand these words. These words are very important. Plenary expansion. We may think we know English, but let's try to understand what those words actually mean. And then coming finally to the point of Guru Puja. Like, we just had Radhashtami and we did Guru Puja. The last sentence of Vyas Puja, of Guru Puja, what do we say? Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Uttama Gati. What does that Rati mean? Rati means devotion. Rati means attachment. One needs to be attached to the feet of the Guru Maharaj, Shri Guru Charane Rati. So if you're not attached to his feet, then you're not going to understand the principle of Srila Prabhupada. And remember, the English language is a little, imperfect language. When we say we need to follow in the footsteps of the Guru Maharaj, it actually means anugraha. It is not equivalent to stepping into his shoes. When we talk about following in the footsteps in what, I'm not going to walk on the same foot imprint of Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm trying to do is what? Anukaran. I'm trying to imitate. And that imitation is artificial. So stepping into one's shoes and following in the footsteps, there is huge difference if you were to convert it into Devanagari or Sanskrit language. So do not confuse these two. So Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Uttama Gati. Uttam means the highest, Gati, destination. So if you're not devoted or devout to his lotus feet, meaning accepting him in every way he explains to you without no personal concoctions, then you will reach that highest, Uttama, highest Gati, destination. So if you want that ultimate destination, you need to follow it. We are not making a mountain out of a molehill, out of stupid small things like, oh, the book changes and this and that. That because the destination will change tremendously for you. Imagine if you're sitting in a cockpit and you change the orientation of the airplane by even 1 degree. And if you're going in a 10 or 12-hour journey away, how much that 1 degree at the origination will deviate you to the final destination? How much will it deviate you? Think about it. So if it happens in the material world, let's understand in the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I think you've answered your own question, so thank you very much for that explanation. Excellent. And I wanted to move forward with our panel, Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. I wanted him to share some insights from today's reading and anything else that he's been experiencing this week in his preaching efforts to the conditioned souls in Texas. Dharma Bhavana.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Very exciting class today. I wanted to read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 15, text 270.
Hold on.
Because
So
normally we speak about
Dharma Bhavana. Just repeat.
Madhya Lila,
yeah.
Madhya Lila, chapter 15, text 270.
Madhya Lila, chapter 15, text 270, Rupesh, if you can get it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dharma
Because
Bhavana.
normally we speak about devotional services being very simple. We chant the holy names, perform all the activities under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, associate with devotees, have festivals. It is normally very simple, but at the same time, one's pathway back to Godhead is clear as long as one does not offend the devotees or the spiritual master. And so I thought I'd just read from this one verse. It says, when a person mistreats great souls, his lifespan, opulence, reputation, religion, possessions, and all good fortune are all destroyed. Well, I was going to mention the reason for this also. Like we talk about the seriousness of all the adulteration of the books, Prabhupada complaining he was being given things that make him sick, the deity worship being changed, so many offenses. But this is we also sometimes don't speak enough about how even very kind of great devotees were removed from their service just because they were asking questions, like Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and Pradyumna Prabhu. And so this concept of offending devotees or kicking them away just because they're asking questions or bringing up important topics which have to be discussed is so significant, so important. Purport. This is a statement made by Shukadeva Goswami, who was relating Srimad Bhagavatam 10.4.46 to Maharaj Pariksit. This quotation concerns the attempted killing of Krishna's sister, Yogamaya, who appeared before Krishna's birth as the daughter of Mother Yaśoda. This daughter, Yogamaya, and Krishna were born simultaneously, and Vasudeva replaced Krishna by taking Yogamaya away. When she was brought to Mathura and Kamsa attempted to kill her, Yogamaya slipped out of his hands. She could not be killed. She then informed Kamsa about the birth of his enemy, Krishna, and being thus baffled, Kamsa consulted his associates, who were all demons. When this big conspiracy was taking place, this verse was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. He points out that a demon can lose everything because of his nefarious activities. So that was the most important part. I just wanted to point that out, how if you offend devotees, it becomes very, very destructive to your devotional service. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, that's very true. And we've seen that Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu with some people that were blessed by Srila Prabhupada during his personal presence. Like, for example, Keith Ham, fellow Kirtananda. Look what happened to him. Look what happened to Jayatirtha. We're not going to repeat it, but if you study about it, you can look it up. You can get the information. If you offend Srila Prabhupada by your actions, you will be punished, period. And also, if you offend his disciples, that's also a mistake. Don't do it. It's a mistake. Krishna is watching everything. I'm studying right now, Nilesh, about the presence of the super soul in nature, enjoyer, and consciousness in that chapter. And it goes on and further into the modes of nature. Krishna is with us. He is witnessing everything we do at every moment. So we may be self-absorbed in our own state of mind, thinking this, that, but we have to remember Krishna is the super knower. He is aware of everything that's going on. And things have to be done carefully by everyone in order to protect oneself from any serious reaction that may take place, whatever it might be. And we're seeing that many of these people, I was a personal friend of Bhakti Charu Swami. Actually, I spent time with him in India back in 75, 76 at the Mayapur festival. I stayed with him in Calcutta at his residence as well. We would cook and that. He was a friend of mine, but just see what happened. What a tragedy. He came from India during the pandemic, and all of a sudden, boom, he got caught. I don't know why he did it. He got caught in Florida with some people, and then overnight he was taken from this world. So these types of things go on in life. Krishna is witnessing everything, and we must be very careful. Yaśodā, we're moving to the end of the program. Maybe you could give us some final thoughts on today's discussion.
In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 4th canto, in the story of King Prithu, there's a very interesting exchange where King Prithu chastises what's called Puranikas, where during the Vedic times, they had different poets and different persons who would glorify the king. And King Prithu is chastising them and say, these qualities which you are reciting here have not yet manifested themselves. And Prabhupada in one purport mentions that to actually glorify a person in the expectation that in the future the qualities or praise will manifest, this is not praising, but actually an insult. So the false idea that people have that we'll have some glorification of somebody as a Mahabhagavata or as a Paramamsa or as a Nikunjayuno or as the sum total of all demigods in the expectation that in the future this may manifest. This is not actually Guru Puja, it's Guru Ninda, insult. I will find the exact quote for that we can discuss it tomorrow, but it's important to remember, and this is a point that's been made by Nilesh Prabhu and also Vishwakarma, this imitation disease is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. There's a conversation in the Prabhupada Conversation book where Prabhupada said, imitation is always bad. Imitation is always bad. He repeats it twice. And what does Prabhupada warn in the Nectar of Instruction? If one imitates the Mahabhagavata without actually being self-realized, eventually he will become degraded. Prabhupada doesn't say immediately or very soon, he says eventually. So we have to learn from these warnings that Prabhupada gives. It is not sufficient for somebody to say, oh, you people are criticizing. No, we're discussing to solve a major problem that misleads people, that misrepresents the actual philosophy. That is why when we analyze Srila Prabhupada's statements in the last few months of his manifested presence, we don't find any such instruction for people to put pada titles and pranam mantras and pictures on the altar. None of this was given by Srila Prabhupada. Why? Let's ask the question, did Prabhupada forget something? No, he did not. Because he saw that if his disciples started this, it would create confusion. It would mislead people. That's why Prabhupada did not appoint anybody or give any instruction for pada titles or all of these fanciful practices that were introduced. We are not sahajiyas. We're expected to be thoughtful, cool-headed Vaishnavas who will ask relevant questions. And people should not shy away from discussion. When people say, oh, you're criticizing, that means you're not listening. You're not hearing what is going on. We have no interest in blaspheming or criticizing or finding fault with anybody. This is not what this is about. This is to ascertain the proper course of action, analyzing what has happened, what is happening, and finding solutions. By the way, I want to point out on Facebook this week, Dharma Bhavana and his good wife, I keep forgetting her name. I call it, she's a firecracker and a pistol. She was cooking a wonderful feast for Radhastami, and they had a very nice guest who led kirtan and everything. It was very inspiring, actually. This was Prabhupada's program. People can meet in their homes, chant Hare Krishna, offer prasadam to Lord Krishna and Radharani. This was very, very inspiring. And I want to thank Dharma Bhavan and his good wife and his guests for arranging such a beautiful program. I'll leave it at that for now. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. And Nilesh, it's interesting that Yaśodā-nandana brought up this Pada disease. It was extraordinary. None of you were really, I see in our group, were really part of that, blasphemy that came right after Prabhupada left in his Vapu form from us. He's still living with us, of course, but all of a sudden everybody had a pada. Vishnu pod, Bhagavat pod, this pod, that pod. It was absolutely outrageous. All of a sudden, from one minute, you're Bhakta or Mr. Sanya, and then you're a pada. It's almost like this politics that go on in America with these democratic people. One day they're this way, and the next day they're all of a sudden they've changed to become something else overnight. So like that, overnight, these people took on these positions, and it was quite difficult for all of us. I must say, it was very disturbing, to say the least. So thank you, everyone. We're going to carry on tomorrow with the reading of the Delhi Bhagavatams, and such beautiful literature. And our discussions, we'll carry on with these discussions. They're only 4.5 hours a week. We try to keep it at that, an hour and a half, 3 times a week. And again, Thursday will be the Chaitanya Charitamrita reading, not Wednesday anymore. It'll be on a Thursday. So Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 days we get a chance to get together. And if you have any questions, write them down, and you can put them in the chat, or you can, speak them. And you're all welcome to, if you're attending the program, you're welcome to put your picture up in the Zoom meeting. It gives more engagement for other people that are going to be watching the show for future generations. So don't feel shy. You're welcome to put your picture up, and follow the etiquette of the audio. Just turn on and off the audio if you're going to speak. And in this way, we can create a better production for everyone's benefit. So thank you, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll move forward with the kirtan. We have a kirtan. Stay on the program right to the end. It's a good experience. And chant along with Prabhupada playing the bongo back in the 60s. And we'll have the Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha prayers, and then the closing screens that come up. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. We all offer our respectful obeisances, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks, everybody, for participating in this reading and discussion on Bhagavad-gītā tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock a.m., corresponding to 10 a.m. Florida time and 10 a.m. Eastern Born Time in the USA and Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We'll have the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam from the original 1962 Delhi edition. Again, thanks everybody for participating and coming to the program and the discussion. If you ever have any questions or comments or chastisements or admonishments, please feel free to contact us. Our addresses are available. You can contact Venkat Bhatta or Rupesh Bhatta Prabhu or myself at yasoda1008@yahoo.com. That is yasoda1008@yahoo.com. or Vishwakarma Prabhu at bobbyhebert@gmail.com. That's BOBBYHEBERT@gmail.com. And we welcome everybody to participate in the program and send us, again, for this upcoming program that we'll be having some special event and compiling some very important historical discussion. Feel free to send us any questions, comments, or anything you would like to be included in the program, and we'll make sure that we deal with that. Again, respectful obeisance to everybody. Thank Rupesh Prabhu for handling the program. Thank Venkat Bhatta Prabhu in Bangalore, India, for always facilitating the program. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, and Neil Sharma Prabhu in Florida, Dharma Bhavana in Texas, and everybody who comes and participates in the program. And always, as always, our good friend Krishna Katha Prabhu in San Diego, California, with the beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam exhibited there. Vijay Pandit in Italy. Come va, Prabhu, come va.
Grazie, va bene. Siamo in tanta associazione oggi qua.
Eccellente, eccellente. Tutte lode sua divina grazia, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Bhaktivedanta Chaturbhuja Prabhu. Nice to see all of you. Okay, Hare Krishna. We will assemble again tomorrow morning. Thanks, everybody, and Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.